again with another episode of Byron Scott's Fast Break. Jay Wagers, Byron Scott. Of course, the man, Mr. Robert Horry, still in the building.
Yes, sir.
And we got so much to talk to you about, man, that we kind of had to do this in 2 different parts. We might have to make it 3 different parts because, listen, he is L.A. royalty.
Man.
Straight up L.A. royalty.
Listen, I love Big Shot no matter what. I mean, every time we've been together, it's like family.
It
Always have been. You know, ever since he's been here as a Laker, when he put that purple and gold on, he's been family. So, of course, we got to do a 2-parter, man. We got to talk about this man's unbelievable career and give you guys some insight on what made him so great at what he did, and also why he's so beloved here in Los Angeles. So, I want to go with this question right quick, Big Shot, because you had played with a dynasty with the Lakers, where you guys won 3 straight championships.
Mm-hmm.
What teammate would you say would surprise most people that they wouldn't know about, who had leadership qualities and toughness that they didn't really know about?
I think AC. You know, AC he was a quiet guy, but AC would do it like he'll sneak over like, no, not playing really good defense. We need to, you know, he would just do it like that.
Just real down low.
Real down low. And then he was like, yeah, you know, we need to practice a little harder today, right? Come on, guys. He would never raise his voice, and he just went hard each and every day. You know, that when I talked about, you know, going to culture in Phoenix, and I was shocked because AC and our bond was because we practiced hard every day we was in Phoenix together.
Yeah.
And he appreciated me and I appreciated him. You know, AC and I will always do this thing where we do conditioning where, you know, AC is, this day is in shape. That's something, you know, he's an Iron Man for a reason. Yeah. We were like run differently where we would run all the way to the wall, like an extra 10 feet and down. And me and him like chasing each other, right? Or like trying to beat each other because we just wanted to push each other to be better. And I think for me, AC is that guy that was always the guy behind the scenes pulling the strings. He was a wizard. So I don't think people appreciate what he did for every organization, especially for the Lakers. I think he's, to me, if you go down the most underrated Lakers ever, I think he is probably, to me, in my opinion, one of the top 10.
I agree with that.
Yeah,
I agree with that too.
I'll tell you something else that, like you said, a lot of people take it for granted. But when when Junior came to the team, somebody asked me, "Why you call him Junior?" I said, "Because that's what we call him. Don't worry about it."
That's what his nickname was.
When Junior came to the team, he took the spot of a very popular player for the Lakers, Kurt Rambis, Rambo, right? And Rambo did all the dirty work and was great at it. It's still probably the best guy I've ever seen at getting the ball out of the net and getting it to Magic Johnson so we can go, right? And AC took his spot because he worked just as hard. He was just as fearless on the defensive end. He was just as great a rebounder. But AC also had that toughness that was a quiet toughness that nobody really knew about, you know. And and he could make that little 15-footer.
That little ugly
little 15-footer. He could knock that shot down and he was athletic, you know. So when he came in and took Rambo's spot, everybody was kind of like, man, what the hell's going on? But then after about 10, 15 games, they're, oh, okay. You know, this kid got some stuff. So, I like that answer, Big Shot.
You played, he mentioned earlier, you played with some true Hall of Famers, Dream, Shaq, Duncan, big men. If you were a GM, who would you pick first out of those 3 big men to build a team around?
See, that's the most difficult question to answer because if you can give me 2000, 2001 Shaq and I can have him, that guy, for multiple years, I'm taking Shaq. But if you just talk about a guy who's going to just, if you talk about how his career went along, I'm taking Dream. You know, and everybody said, not Tim. I said, I love Tim. I think he's one of the best players ever played this game, but I just love Dream. And that's just my opinion. Like, he's my mentor, what we played against, the toughness that he had. You know, end of the day, if we get into a fight, I know now Tim takes all that jiu-jitsu and all that kind. He didn't do that when he played. See, Dream already knew all that stuff when he played, so you got to have something to have your back. So I just would take Dream and then Shaq and then Tim because, you You think about that 2000, 2001 Shaq when he won MVP. That 2 years before he went and had that surgery on that big toe.
Very well.
We gonna talk about that.
Yeah, he was into it.
Yeah.
I hated all of them. Him, Shaq, Kobe, D-Fish, Beach. I hated all of them then. And then I loved them.
It's a funny story I have to tell you about Game 4 when we were about to sweep them.
Mm-hmm.
So Phil was like, well, you need to guard Kenyon. I'm like, I ain't guarding Kenyon. And so my thing was, I'm going to let Kenyon take all the shots he wants because that's going to take away from everybody else. Yeah. And Kenyon had this mental tough, like, oh, I can do it. I'm going to carry the team. Like, go ahead. You can get your 40 points, but that means that guy ain't going to get his. That guy ain't get his. Yeah. You know? And that's when Phil was looking at me like, would you go and guard? I'm like, no. I'm going to let him take all the shots he wants. I'm like, if he hit 3 in a row, then I'll guard him.
There you go.
I think he took like, what, 30 shots that game in Game 4?
He got him up that shit that game.
You didn't take him out the game?
No, he couldn't. He had no replacement for him.
Yeah, you know what? The one thing
he had the brothers, the brothers on the team coming off the bench.
Yeah, but that no. You're talking about I had a twin.
The twin, yeah.
But he was just one. Right? I didn't have both of them.
Oh, okay.
And he was our starting center.
He was the center. He was our center.
But Kenyon, that game, the one thing I loved about Kenyon is he would go 110%.
Yes.
And he was fearless and he was tough as shit. But we also tried to put him on Shaq, and it was like, no, that didn't work either because Shaq was fouling out everybody on our team anyway. Yeah. But
what was the really light, fair-skinned guy you had?
Aaron Williams.
Yeah, Aaron Williams.
Aaron was tough,
poor fella,
strong, but Aaron was. You know when guys come back to the bench going, I can't guard that dude, man. you know, as pros, we don't never want to admit we can't guard somebody, but they were coming back like, Coach, we can't do nothing with him.
He was on a whole nother level.
He was a monster. There's nothing you could do with him. So I mean that order that you picked, like you said, if you got Shaq 2001 on, from what he averaged like 30-something and 15 boards against us. Yeah. We couldn't stop him. You know, so he was amazing. Yeah. I got another question for you, though. So you had, who I think are 3. I think you had 3 legendary coaches, even though most people are going to say, well, he had Tim, he had Gregg Popovich and Phil Jackson. I like Rudy T. I thought Rudy T was a great coach. Mm-hmm. If you had those 3 guys to choose from to start a team, to be your head coach, which one are you choosing?
I'm choosing Rudy. Because Rudy ran plays when the other 2 run shit for me. I'm like, hell no. I'm like, shit. Hey, because at the end of the day, those 3 coaches were exactly alike. Mm-hmm. They put the team first. They defense was, one of the top billings, and they know how to run an offense because, people say, well, Phil Jackson had a triangle. If you go back and look at what we did in Houston, we ran a triangle. You had Dream on the block, Kenny in the corner, and me on the wing. Because Dream only liked me to throw him the ball. He hated everybody else. He's like, no, Robert. Who's going to make the pass? Robert. Before he even asked, make Robert. Because I know how to get it to him. Yeah. And so then Kenny would cut baseline, snatch cut. I cut over the top, set a screen for Otis or Horace Grant, which we ran the same thing. So people were like, oh, it's a triangle. I'm like, this is the same shit we ran in Houston. Yep. We just called it 15.
Called it a different thing. Yeah,
and get the fuck out of Dream's way,
Yeah.
And it was the same thing with Shaq. You give it to Shaq and get out of Shaq's way. And so I just, on a personal level, he drafted me when nobody in the Rockets organization wanted him to draft me. And then he ran plays for me. So that's the thing, because I don't think Phil has ever ran a play for me. I think Pop ran one play for me, and I made him run that. And it was a play that had 3 options on it. One option was for Manu, he scored, and the second option was for Francisco, he scored. And I was like, hey, it went by me. Run this thing again. And he wasn't going to run. We got on the court. I said, you're going to run this motherfucking play because the next one's for me. And we ran it. I made it 3 in the corner. I said, oh, you can run whatever you want to run. So to me, I just love the fact that Rudy understood that I got to get people involved.
Yeah.
Even though I wasn't like certain players, if I didn't get a shot, I was going to be not worth a damn on the defensive end. I wanted to win. I was going to play harder than then. But he know how something about getting a shot in the game just gives you that extra energy boost.
Yeah, so, makes you feel a part of the team too when you run a play for you. Yeah.
So we're going to talk about Phil Jackson. I got one question for you. He was known for his Zen master. That's what everybody and his approach. What's one unique or even weird tactic he used with the team that the fans don't know about?
I think everybody knows about the sage. We thought it was weed.
Oh my God.
I think everybody know about the books.
Wait a minute, you said he did the sage, but y'all thought it was weed,
yeah,
right?
he thought it was weed. Sage.
He would go in and bless every single locker with this sage.
Yeah, and everybody knows about the books, and I think the one time which really made me appreciate it, we was going to play Sacramento, and before we get on the plane, you know how everybody sits in the front. He goes, it's like, when we get to Sacramento, cancel all your plans. Nobody's going out. We doing something as a team. And then we went to a comedy night. We went to go see Fluffy.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it was weird because this is when Fluffy was just starting out.
Yeah.
And so we went to go see Fluffy, and we all laughed, had a good time, and we went on to beat Sacramento in that game. And it was almost like him saying, we need to do something as a team because now you guys are starting to pull apart. Even though you win sometime, everybody can get caught up in their own little egos or whatever it may be. And so he kind of brought us back together, and we all went to go see Fluffy. And I just found this out that it wasn't his idea.
Really? It
wasn't Phil's idea?
It wasn't Phil's idea. And all this time, for like 20 years, where it's been, I thought it was Phil's idea. Until I had a dinner with a certain young lady by the name of Jeannie Buss. And I told this story, and she was like, I made him do that.
Oh, it was her idea.
Yeah, it was Jeannie Buss's idea, but Phil was the one that had to implement it, so it was a team effort. So yeah, so she made us go see Fluffy. He made us go see Fluffy, and actually brought us together as a team. It was a funny episode too. Wow. Now look at him; he's selling out Dodger Stadium.
Yeah, big time.
Yeah. I mean, he's big time now.
Mm-hmm.
So Big Shot, you wore in your career number 25 and number 5.
Mm-hmm.
What's the significance of both numbers?
It's actually a simple story. And it's like, so in high school, when I first got to high school, my high school coach was like, what number you want to wear? I want to wear number 32 so I can be like Magic Johnson. He's like, nope, that's not happening. I'm like, why? He says, because you're your own person. You got to, you can admire him and try to take some of his stuff, but you got to be who you are. He says, when's your birthday? I'm like, August 25th. You're wearing 25. Oh, so he's the one that gave me 25. And that's just been with me. Of course, when I got here, Eddie Jones was wearing 25, right. But then they took it from Eddie.
Yeah.
Because they
he
retired
went to number
it.
6, though. That's right. It was Gail Goodrich's number back in the day.
He retired
that's
it. And so there's like, what number you wear? I said 2. No, Derek Fisher wears that 5. So that's how I got my number 5. Because I it's weird. I almost was going to wear 42. But I said, that's worthy. Now I said 43. And out of my brother, because my brother's the one who kind of got me into basketball, and he wore 42 and 40. Like, in high school, 42 at home, 43 on the road. Yeah. So it was weird. And so, but I said, you know what? I'm going to go with number 5. Just because I can't wear 2, 5. I just kept it simple.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
When D-Fish got to the Lakers, he got number 4.
Uh-huh.
And then I re-signed. I was a free agent.
Yeah.
So when I signed, they was like, well, D-Fish got your number. I said, not no more, he don't. Shit, I've been in this league 11 years or something. He a rookie? Shit, you go get me that number. And D-Fish was like, here you go. You give me 2 or something. Yeah.
When you went back to San Antonio, you put 25 back on, right?
But I wore 5 the entire time. My last year, I told myself I wanted to go out like I went. I knew that was my last year. I didn't want to be.
I knew at some point you had
went back
25 as a Spur.
I was tired, man. People always think, why did you retire? I could have played maybe 2 more years, but I had so much going on in my life off the court when it came to my kids. And I was like, you know what? I'm done. My feet hurt. My back hurt. My mental was gone. I was like, I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah. So. When you look at today's NBA, we talk about it all the time. Load management, the 3-point, revolution, softer defense. What do you think has improved with the game and what's gotten worse?
I think the athleticism has gotten better. Yeah. I think the guys are more athletic because you think about us, they gave us a little brown bag. They had, anti-inflammatories and ice. That's all we had. And maybe some muscle stim. You go see Clive and he put that. But other than that, these guys.
Not going to work.
Yeah.
Not going to work.
Because think about it now. If you look at interviews, every guy has a shake that's designed for them to keep their weight on, to keep the vitamins, keep the nutrients in their body. They have all this technology. They have facilities. You think of when I first got to Lakers, we never knew what we was practicing. We over here, over there.
Southwest High School.
Loyola Marymount.
We had no idea.
And so now these guys got these facilities where they can really work on their bodies. You got the hot tubs, you got the cold tubs, you got all these things to keep them, playing at a high level. So I just think, the athlete at this day and age has so many uses and things they could do to keep them good. But I think overall, I think the game is great. I wish, they would play, I would say, Adam would let them play a little bit of defense because, you can't even touch a guy now.
Mm-hmm.
And the only thing I would change is like, I would change that going to the monitor thing. I can't stand that. Yeah. It's like, it's basketball. You're going to get hit in the head. If it wasn't like, it was a wind up. And I was like, but the game has evolved. The game is great. I still love to watch. And it's just nothing I wouldn't change other than that. I like everything. I think, the players are more athletic. I just think they will just let them play defense a little more.
I can tell you the biggest change. Money. That's the biggest damn change. They're getting paid 20, 30, 40, 50 million.
Yeah. And that's the role players.
Yeah. And that's the season, not a career. That's the season. So that's the biggest change for me. Behind the scenes championships, stories that fans probably wouldn't know. And see, this is kind of the crazy part because you won 7 of them. So let's take one. What behind the scenes stories on one of your 7 championships that you won that people would be like, oh, wow?
I think one of the most underrated players and one of the biggest leaders on our team we didn't really talk about is Ron Harper.
I love Harper.
I think Harp and I, he spent a lot of time in Kobe's ear. Because think about it, he played with MJ, so he had Kobe's ear. I think he and I, we used to just, when we would come to the arena, we would just, I don't know if the players did this because he and I would go in the back and take a nap during the playoffs, only during the playoffs. And guys would kind of like, because it was about, relaxing your mind, relaxing your body. And so and a lot of guys started, doing that. They were like, they would do their own little thing to start relaxing themselves. And I think that's the one thing that nobody ever talk about. I know. And I did just because I used to do it. You remember the days I used to go in the office with Rudy, the equipment manager, and I just sit there in the chair. Sometimes I would take a nap like, Rudy, wake me up at this time. But then it got to a point where Hart saw me doing it and he was doing it. So that was the only thing. I think the one thing that talks that as an individual I want to talk about was back in 2005 when in Game 5 against the Spurs, how I was talking to myself out loud and cursing myself out. And Bruce Bowen was looking at me. He came over to me and put his hand. I'm like, "You all right, dog?" Yeah, man. I'm just getting myself amped. I'm like, "Now get away from me." And there's so many players. I don't know if you ever did that. Like I had a bad first half. I had 0 points in that first half. So next thing you know, I have those 21 points. Sometimes I tell people all the time, I am the only person that can really tap in to get me to a point where I'm amped. Mm-hmm. Music can do it to a certain degree. A teammate can never do it. Mm-hmm. A coach can never do it. I am the one that can tap that inner where I can say, okay, you suck. You playing like shit. Come on. All right, big dog, let's go. You talking to yourself. And I think that was the first time that someone caught me doing it, and I actually caught myself doing it out loud. So, those are only 2 things that I can really like, because everything else was just everybody's in their own world, getting ready. Oh, here's an interesting story. I forgot about this one. So we were playing Indiana in the finals, and we were playing, I was looking at Kobe. I'm big on body language. I watch and I study people's body language. You can see here the attitude and I look at Kobe. I'm like, something ain't right. So I go over to him at halftime and I'm like, dude, you all right? He's like, yeah. And I said, you look tired. He said, yeah, I'm tired. I said, you drinking Red Bull? And she's like, yeah, I drank one before every game. I said, you can't drink that shit, man. He's like, why? I said, because your crash is going to have you amp and then you're going to crash. Yeah. He's like, what? I said, you can drink one at halftime, but drink in front of the game by the time. He's like, yeah. And so I don't think he ever remembers that story, but I remember because the reason I know because when Red Bull first came out, I was drinking it. And by halftime, I'm like, I crash. And I'm like, you can't do that. And it's
a quick stimulant.
Yeah, it's a quick. And so I think I told him that. And after that, he kind of flipped it. He put it in his water bottle so he would drink it like doing last. Yeah, the crash is a bad thing. So That's the only one thing. That's one of those inside stories that nobody will ever know. Yeah.
Wow.
I wonder if that's why he started Body Armor. I mean, he probably should have gave me some stock in that, man. Because I told you to get rid of that Red Bull.
You'd be a rich man if that was the case. With 7 titles, multiple Game 7s underneath your belt, what was the toughest series that you ever were a part of?
Knicks. The New York Knicks in 94, man. Because that was 2-3-2. And you think about Oakley, Mason, Ewing, Charles Smith, Bonner, even freaking Derek Harper.
Mm-hmm.
It was just, man, I tell people I had 2 sprained wrists. I had 10 stitches in my arm. I got a hairline fracture in my tailbone. That's all after that series. I have never been so beat up after a game in my life. And that series, man, I remember you got that episode where I'm going to the hole and they take me out of the air and I just crashed. And I was like, man, outside that was number 1. And then, of course, Portland series was number 2. But that New York series, just like, it was just, and you got to think about then also what made it tough for me. I was only wearing like 220 at the time. So I hadn't really grown into my body. I was still like 23 years old. I'm like trying to become a man in this league and they just beat the hell out of me. So
wow.
That was a tough series.
You named 2 enforcers that a lot of people don't remember. Charles Oakley. And damn Anthony Mason.
Yeah.
Anthony Mason, I used to call him, I said, that dude's a tight end in the damn basketball uniform.
And he was just mean.
And tough, could play.
And before he passed away, I got a chance to meet him. He was the nicest damn guy. I'm like, all these guys are so nice off the court. I'm like, we were trying to kill him. He's like, that's the persona. And I think about it.
Yeah.
We were like that on the court. Once you get in the court, we ain't got no friends.
Yeah.
When we step off the court and career's over, we can be friends then.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Anthony Mason was one of the coolest brothers, man. Like you said, and I met his son afterwards.
Yeah.
And me and him got to talking after he passed, and his son was like, man, my dad loved you.
Yeah.
I said, me and your dad was cool, man. I mean, we were tight. I mean, he was just a good dude. I got a question for you because we have a guy that we all love on this show that's been talked about on this show on a number of occasions.
A lot.
And it's been some real crazy stories.
Mm-hmm.
Oh Lord,
but
SNS.
So Shaquille O'Neal, the man we call Shaq, the big Diesel. We've heard some wild stories about Diesel. Is there any stories that you have when you played with the Lakers and you have witnessed being with you being with the Diesel? Is there any stories that you might want to share? We've heard a bunch of them. And we want to see if this is going to be on anywhere on par with some of the other ones that we've heard. If you have one that you want to share, Big Shot.
I have 2.
Okay,
perfect. The first one is PG.
Oh, so that means the second one ain't. Okay.
Yeah, second one ain't. So of course,
Go figure.
Shaq and I both had kids in Houston, and so one time he called me like, Rob, what you doing? I said, on my way home. No, you going with me. Like, where we going? So we're going to Houston. I says, how we getting to Houston? I got a plane. I'm like, and I'm scared of private plane. And nobody really knew this at the time. I'm scared of private planes. So he says, well, we're gonna get some sandwiches and we're gonna get on the plane. We're gonna go to Houston. I'm like, dude, I ain't got private plane money. Oh, it's on me. I got you. I'm going there, so I got an extra seat. So we stop at this little sandwich shop, a little hole in the wall. Probably it ain't bigger than this room. And lady, oh, Mr. Shaq, he comes in and this motherfucker put about this much mayo on this sandwich. I'm like, damn, dude. He biting the sandwich, mayo all down. I'm like, dude, no wonder your ass that big. You can't have all that mayo. But it was a good ass sandwich, I ain't gonna lie. So, and then we went to Houston and we just hung out, man. That's how he and I became really close because, his first baby's mama and my ex-wife, they got to know each other and they became friends because of, the bond that he and I had. So that's the first story. So for the second story, which is kind of X-rated, did everybody ever talk about the little bear?
No, we didn't.
Nobody's ever talked about the bear?
No.
So
y'all about the little bear.
We know the absent bear, AC Green had.
AC?
So AC, he would sit on there with
I did see
you
him
remember
with
that green bear?
Yeah.
So of course.
Oh,
man,
I can imagine this story. Okay.
One time, so Shaq takes the bear. And let's just say he wore it right here. And he's like, abstinence. No, everybody here like, fuck, I don't know what you talking about, AC. And so one time he came in like, who does that, man? He wore the bear right here walking around the locker room. Like, dude, What are you fucking doing, man? Put that barrier. I'm like, nah, man. He's like, So I don't know if he even remember that. I was sitting there like,
oh, shit.
man, I'm like, dude, you don't took the Bears' virginity, man. Come on now. So good thing AC had a bunch of those bears because I was hoping that one of the bears sitting on top of it. I'm like, hold on. That bear probably sitting up there like this. Yeah, I'm good now.
After being violated by Diesel.
But that was one of those.
We have not heard that one.
So I forgot all about the bear.
Yeah.
Thank you, Big Shot. We haven't heard that one.
So
again, I've been trying to call Diesel and say, come on the show. We want to have you on the podcast so we can talk about your unbelievable career. But we also want to talk about some of the shit you was doing, man. We just want to know if you okay.
Some of the shit.
Yes.
Some of the
literally,
shit.
Yeah.
Literally.
We just want to make sure you good. We know you good. We know that. But come on the show, Diesel. We got to talk about some of this.
You tell the one about the thing in the shoe with Rudy. There's so many, man. I'm telling you, it's a bunch.
I think we need to get Rudy. I'm gonna call Rudy.
Yeah, we need to get because Rudy
he got
way
all the
more stories.
Yeah,
man.
we need to get Rudy on. I'll call him. I'll call him.
I think I'm gonna mention this about Rudy. I love Rudy. I told Rudy, I said, man, I need to learn how to speak Spanish. So, cause I used to sit in the back of the plane with Rudy, and he was supposed to teach me how to speak Spanish. So one time we back playing, I said, "Oh, you gonna teach us that? We gonna eat?" He like, I was sleep. Then one time I wanted to learn, he over to sleep. So one time I come in the locker room, Rudy had put the Spanish word for everything in the locker room for me. He's like, "Here you go, learn how to speak Spanish." I was like, I love that guy, man. I loved him. I ain't know. He asked me any of those. I don't remember no freaking Spanish, but
I don't remember none of it now.
None of that. So I love Rudy.
Rudy was the best. He was definitely my other father.
Mm-hmm.
Kobe Bryant, Kobe Bean Bryant.
Yeah.
You got to give us a story off the court, and you know what he meant to you.
Well, I already talked about us, sitting on the plane playing spades, and I just think the fact that he was always trying to learn. I think the very first moment I'm coming in the shoot around, I don't know where we were, Loyola Marymount or somewhere, and when I'm from the age of shoot around where we walking through, and he going through like not hit me in the stomach so hard doing a shoot around, like, dude, what the fuck you doing? He's like, I'm trying to get ready for a screen. It's like, you can't get ready for a screen if we're not going that speed. But that was just his intensity, man. He just, every moment, he was just trying to go hard and get better. And I remember one time he comes over to me and he was asking me he's like, tell me about Dream's footwork. He wanted to know about Dream's footwork. He was like, how was it winning the championship? What was the process? He was always trying to learn.
Mm-hmm.
But I know I tell this story. I think the fun part was how we used to just, mess with him in practice where second team would kick first team's butt, and then we tell Phil that we ain't gonna give him a chance to get back. He'd be so mad, and that just goes to show you to compare to him, man. He was just always trying to get better, man, and it's just we just love playing with him, just loved getting to know him as a person, and I really wish that I got to know number 24, because 8 was a totally different dude than 24.
Yeah.
I think the one time that my kids really appreciated me, and it's when I was retired and I went to a game. I went to watch Rockets in the Laker game, and we went back in the locker room. And Kobe was like, "Hey, Cam, what's up, man? I ain't seen you. How you doing?" Yeah. So he says, "Yo, man, your dad is one of the smartest players I ever played with, and you should look at this, the confusion on my son's face, like this dude." And it was so weird, and he was looked at me like, "Dad," I'm like, "Dude, it takes some smarts to play this game. You just ain't all about athleticism."
Yeah.
Right.
And so I think that, the fact that he appreciated my IQ. We always talk about IQ, and sometimes you will know it by doing it on the court, but when it actually comes out of someone's mouth, you kind of appreciate it a little bit more. And I think for me, that meant a lot to me that he appreciated what I brought to the game.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
All right, Big Shot, I want to ask you this. We're coming to the end of this, and we always ask this question, especially to our Lakers, our purple and gold brothers. Your top 5 Lakers ever.
Top 5 Lakers ever. I think, when you talk about top 5 Lakers, I'm going to take Magic out because you already told him the story of how I just grew up a big Magic Johnson fan. Like when everybody says your top 5 player, you take Jordan out, then you go from there. I'm going to take Magic out. He's just on a whole another level.
Okay.
And the next pick is definitely Kareem. I think what Kareem did is incredible. We always talk about the greatest players of all time. We never mention him, which is a slap in his face big time because he's the only one that changed rules. You know what I mean? He's the only one that took the game to a whole nother level. You think about signature shots, the skyhook, there's never been duplicated, So I think, Cream's number one. And of course, the logo, Jerry West, and then Shaq and Kobe. And then, this is going to be the odd one down the stretch here. It's Phil. I know he didn't play, but
I feel you though.
I think it's Phil because in the way he was able to bring Shaq and Kobe together, because you think about it, before he got there, we had 5 All-Stars. Yeah. We had the team of the future. Yeah. And sometimes when coaches recognize we got too many chefs in the kitchen, get rid of 2 chefs, Nick and Eddie, and then just leave Kobe and Shaq and say, okay, we could go and get a bunch of guys who just know how to play and win and want the great, the culture, bring the culture up the notch. So I just think he gets on that list because I think without him, we don't win 3 in a row.
So I'm actually glad you brought that up because when we talk about Lakers that are in the rafters, there is one for Chick Hearn. There's one up there. He has a microphone on his jersey.
Right.
Should there be one up there for Phil Jackson then?
You know what?
5 rings.
I think when you look and you compare the two, if you put Phil up there, then you got to put Pat Riley up there.
Yeah.
And I think what you think about when Chick was there from the beginning. He was there through a lot of the form. State was there for a long time. I think that was, and you think about all the sayings he had, what he brought to the game. I just think that with him is. Coaches know. I don't think coaches go, but the way what he brought to the game, and you got so many people. They didn't care about us. They cared about listening to what Chick was going to say, and so I think for me, Chick deserves to be up there. But Phil, nope. Pat Riley, nope. Because
they're giving Pat Riley a statue this year.
Yeah. That's the difference. That's the difference.
That's different, because he gets a statue. Yeah. Chick got a statue and a jersey.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so but when you said Phil, I was like, wow. Because nobody has said that.
Nobody said
Everybody's always picked when we say the greatest Laker, and we don't say the greatest Lakers players, we say the greatest Lakers ever. That's pretty damn good though.
Yeah, because you think about I know I had to take Magic out because he's on a whole nother level, and that's why because I wanted to put Phil in. And the crazy part about Phil and I really never had a relationship, and that just shows you how much respect I have for him. We've never had one conversation while I was in a uniform. I had plenty of conversations I had more conversations with Danny Ainge than I had with this dude. And I just think it came down to a respect factor. And, I don't know if you ever get Jeannie Buss on here. One day, Jeannie was about to tell me the story why Phil and I never talked. And then Phil, he's like, come here. And I never know the story why we never talked. And it's still eating at me. I want to know why we never had a conversation. And I don't count the conversation where he wanted to know about the Danny Ainge incident.
Yeah.
But, you think about it, I'm sure you had plenty of conversations with your coaches and your players, right?
Yeah.
I've never had a conversation with Phil.
Since we're talking about jerseys in the rafters, should number 4 and number 5 be up in the rafters?
I think so, 4. I think, when you look at what Byron and myself have done for the Lakers, and I know the Lakers only have a tradition of putting guys who go into the hall up there.
Yeah. And
I know that it's going to be a difficult situation for the both of us to get in the hall, but I think so because of what we brought to the team, not just on the court, but behind the scenes. I tell this story about all the time how you got the big dog, Shaq and Kobe. They weren't going to go to all these little charity events. They're like, no, because it's been chaotic, right? But who went? Me, Derek, B. Shaw, Devin, Ty Lue. We were the guys that went just for the stuff we do for the community and what we know.
Organization,
and what the brand means to us and how we want to represent the brand. Because there's only when you look at a jersey, there's only one name that really means a lot to you, and that's the name on the back of the jersey. But when you step into a Laker uniform, it's like your name is here and that Laker name is like right there. And that don't happen because, when I was with the Rockets, my name is here and the Rockets like here and Spurs here. But when it's with the Lakers, it's something different about that Laker brand. And that's not a slap in the Rockets or the Spurs face, maybe so the Suns face, but not the Rockets Spurs. But when you think about iconic brands, those mean way different. I'm sure with Wemby being on the Spurs is totally different in France.
Yeah.
And I'm sure, when Yao was on the Rockets, it was totally different in China.
Yeah.
But when you talking about worldwide, the Laker brand is so different.
Yeah. So Big Shot, we've had this discussion on a number of occasions about championships and players, like T-Mac. And I'm a T-Mac fan. Love the way he plays the game. Love how great he was on the offensive end, obviously. But he made a statement on a show that, if I'm in there instead of Kobe, you telling me I don't win championships with Shaq? And so what's your take on guys like that saying, or just guys, period, plugging in their selves for other guys on other teams and saying that they would probably win championships as well?
I think, people forget a team is a pie and everything has to fit. T-Mac is an incredible player, and he, whatever happened, I don't think so. Just because Kobe, the way Kobe is a totally different dynamic. Who's a better defender? Kobe. Don't get me wrong. People always go straight to offense. T-Mac, dynamic offensive player. Kobe, dynamic offensive player. But it always don't work. You think about, just take this for instance. You take me away, you throw in Karl Malone, you get to the finals, you don't win. Have I ever lost in the finals? No. So you take Karl Malone, but does it really fit? Its personalities have to fit too.
Yep.
People think it's all about the game and how my game is this, I can do that. Nope. In that case, think Charles Barkley would ever won a championship. People forget Charles Barkley talks so much about, these guys, they want to go play with their friends. Dude, I'm the reason I got traded because you wanted to play with Dream and Clyde. You forget about that. You had Dream, you had Clyde, and you had Scotty, and you still lost.
Didn't win.
It ain't about the talent, it's about how it fits.
Yep.
You think about all these. You think the latest. You take Westbrook. We think Westbrook, you're gonna throw him with the Lakers, and it ain't the right fit. And you think about it has to be. If you look at all the other big threes, you take that team down there, up there, we ain't gonna talk about that's green. That fit. Each one of those guys played a different role. And then you had a point guard in Rondo that made it work.
Yep.
You think about Golden State and that big four they had. Clay can probably fit in anywhere at the time because he's a hell of a defensive player. He can spot up, shoot. And Steph took a huge backseat to Durant. Yeah. Because he can just sit in and Draymond just want to win. He just want to rebound and cause havoc.
Defend, rebound, and win.
And then you go to not the 1, not 2, not 3 down in Miami. They fit. And that's the whole thing you have to look at. Because you think about the way what T-Mac does and when it comes to when we played with Shaq, they might have won a championship. Who knows? But I think it worked best because I think Kobe, this is going to sound crazy, was a little bit better passer than T-Mac. It sounds weird, but think about the lob to Shaq, think of all the passes me in the corner.
Yeah.
And I just think that, and it ain't just about those two. I think it has to be a lot to be what, we always want to call them now the others. And so it has to do with the other guys on that bench, that how the attitudes would have meshed and how they would have liked one another. Because you think about it, we loved each other in the Lakers.
And that helps. That helps. And I said the same thing, Big Shot. I said he might have won one.
Yeah.
Because like you said, there's a lot of different variables to that.
You think about the matchups. You got to think about the matchups then, and who, think about who he has to go against and what's his weakness and what's his strength. Will a team be able to exploit those? And that's what you got to look at.
A lot of different variables.
All right, we're going to get you out of here on Rapid Fire, brought to you by Drew Estate Cigars.
Drew Estate Cigars. Guys, again, Drew Estate Cigars, some of the best cigar makers you'll ever find. This is one of the newer ones that I've had.
Is that Dominican?
Dominicana.
Is it Dominican?
Yes, I think so. I'm
gonna find out if this is Dominican. I'm old now. I think it says Dominican on the back, but that's why I'm cheating. It sure does.
I think so. But I'm telling you, I'm gonna go home later on and let y'all know how this one is. But I tell you what, they make some of the best cigars you ever come in contact with. Drew Estates, check them out. New one right here. I'm telling you, I'll let you know next episode how good this one is.
And we got something for you, Rob, because we know you like a cigar. So, Rob, we're going to ask you these questions. One answer. You can elaborate if you want, but you can give us quick answers as well. Byron, you want to kick this off?
Toughest guy you ever had to guard?
Charles Barkley.
Okay, Charles.
And Rasheed Wallace.
I'm about to say Rasheed Wallace.
Yeah.
Quiet beast.
Yeah. Best trash talker you ever heard on the court?
Vernon Maxwell. Vernon talk trash for you, man. He just, I'm like, dude, don't get me involved in that.
He's talking for you, huh?
Yeah, I just think when you, if you, people don't understand to have the ability to when him and MJ went to each other, them each calling each one of you black motherfucker. I'm like, you both kind of damn dark, so I don't know who y'all talking who the blackest, but yeah, so that was incredible. Yeah,
that sound like Max too. Yeah, that sound like Max. All right. One teammate who was funnier than fans would realize.
Outside of me, I don't know. I think that's it, but probably AC. AC was low key funny in certain situations.
AC got a great
because you think about it, everybody knows Shaq.
Yeah.
I'd probably say Tim. I had to say Tim.
Duncan
was low. Duncan was low key funny. Yeah,
low-key, huh? Okay.
But I didn't find this out till like 3 years in when he kind of let me into the fold. So I'd say Tim Duncan.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. What's more stressful, hitting a game-winning shot or taking the last free throw?
I think the free throws because it's quiet.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when it's quiet and everybody's looking at you, and you got to make two. You know, you make one shot, you're done. You know, you got to make two in a row. I think the free throws by far.
One player in today's NBA you would love to play alongside of.
You know, I would say LeBron. I know a lot of people say, I look down the list, LeBron. I think Steph shoots too damn much. I think
LeBron will pass you the ball, right?
Yeah. KD is, you know, it looks like he's kind of temperamental. MB's always hurt. You know, if I, you know, it either be, no lie, it'd be LeBron or Halliburton. Because if you watch how Halliburton plays, you know, he can be the starter. He just gets the ball up, and he reminds me of a skinny J kid.
Yeah.
He just pushes the ball up the floor, and he gets it to you in the right position to score. And that Indiana team, they don't give a shit who scored. You just score. So I think those two, LeBron or Halliburton.
It's that brand.
I got one more I think I would add to that list.
Yeah.
The Joker.
Oh, yeah. Because I want to see how, you know, he just plays hard.
Hard.
You probably want to put Greek Freak on there too.
Yeah.
Oh, but the thing about Greek Freak, I'm like, dude, stop shooting threes. Get your big ass on the block. You can't shoot threes.
Just
nobody can stop him. Once he gets to the block. Favorite city to play outside of your home teams?
Miami. Miami and Atlanta. See, people realize when you're from the South and you get to go home and play in front of your family.
Yeah.
I love Atlanta. I just like playing in Miami because of the humidity. You know, compared to Denver, which is ice cold and it's nice and warm. So but Atlanta's probably Atlanta and Miami are my top two.
What's the craziest celebrity encounter? Let's say LA celebrity encounter that you had as a Laker.
Selma Hayek. Do I need to go into the story? So we had a Trish Dean who was our masseuse. She's from Alabama, so she and I had a connection. I always just tell her she was a masseuse for Selma. And I'd be like, yo, hook me up with Selma. Right? So I just hit that shot to win the game in Portland. So I'm at the gas station. I get a phone call. I'm like, who is this? I pick it up and say, hey, Robert, how are you? I'm like, who is this? This is Thelma. I'm like, who's playing on my fucking phone? Who's it? This is Selma Hayek. I'm like, oh shit, what's up? So she was like, oh, we was in the apartment having a good time. You know, I love the way you play. You know, we should get together sometime. I'm like, yes. You know, and then she's like, yeah, you know, I have a movie called Frida coming out. I would love for you to come to the premiere. And in the back of my like, are you asking me to be your date? And then she just talking and said, hold on. Edward wants to talk to him. I'm like, fuck. Because she was dating Edward Norton at the time, right? So I'm like, I thought I had a hookup. But, so
You had to sit next to Edwin in the movies?
No, I actually sat next to Selma.
Oh, okay.
And so Selma's sitting there. I can remember like it was yesterday, man. She on this pink dress with the slit that comes way up here. And then we sitting there watching the movie, and she has a leg crossed like this, and I'm sitting over here. And then up on the scene, she's butt naked. I'm looking at the leg. I'm like, Lord, y'all done put me in a bad predicament. I'm like, man, I don't need to be sitting right here right now. But yeah, that was the one. I think that was the best.
That would be the one for me.
That was great.
But because you think when someone calls you out of the blue, because all I can think was Dust to Dawn, right? One of my favorite movies.
Yeah.
And for her to call me like that was just, I've had calls from a lot of celebrities, but that one kind of.
Yeah.
Number one.
That would kind of, that would kind of take the cake. Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah.
Okay. Biggest what if moment of your career?
What if I make that shot against the San Antonio Spurs when I was a Laker? Do we go 4 in a row? I make that shot, so many things changes. Number one, do we go 4 in a row?
Yep.
Number two, do the Lakers bring me back and I make the most money I ever made in my career?
Yep.
And do I have 8 championships or do I have only those 5?
Yeah.
Who knows? Because the Lakers keep me. I don't go to the Spurs. So if you think about that shot in their building, I make that, we win. So we up 3-2. We go home. The Spurs are probably demoralized. We come home. We're tired. We're like, fuck, we already won 3 in a row. And so we get smashed in that game. So, what if? That's the big, to me, that's the biggest what if.
What if? I like
it. We should have got 5 in a row.
Bill Russell. Yeah, but Bill Russell's 11. That's
technically I should have 8 because because if Manu Ginobili doesn't foul Dirk Nowitzki, he makes the bucket, goes to the line, makes a free throw. We go into overtime and lose to Dallas. They go on and play. In 2006, we supposed to three-peat in San Antonio.
Yeah.
We went in 2005. We should have won in 2006. Should have won in 2007, but we don't.
Well, I mean, they could say the same thing about 99 in the Spurs. I mean.
Oh, I'm not talking about that. I wasn't that team didn't involve me. So.
All right, Big Shaq. What's one fan interaction in LA that still blows your mind today?
Miss Wells. You know how you play, and sometimes you fall on fans. And I fell on this lady named Miss Mary Wells. And I remember after that, every game I go talk to her and says, "How you doing?" We became kind of friends. Mm-hmm. And one day she pulls me to and said, "Baby, don't you have a sick daughter at home?" I'm like, "Yes, ma'am." She's like, "I want to send you something. May I have your address?" I said, "Sure." She's sitting on the sideline. She can't be anybody crazy, right? And so I give her my address, and over the summer, this big ass box comes to my house. I'm like, "What the fuck is this?" I thought it was from Nike, right? Because I was a Nike athlete. And I open it up. It's all this Disney stuff in there. Wow. Apparently, she was the wife of one of the guys who died in a plane crash, but she had some affiliation with Disney. And so just because of that bond, man, that box had so much stuff, and I was giving people gifts for like 4 years. There was so much gifts. It was crazy how much stuff. And my son every day would go in and get something. No, dude, stop going in the box. So that was, I think, and the thing is, you never know who you meet on the sideline. That's why I tell guys, like when I speak at these rookie seminars, you don't know who on the sideline. Yeah. So be nice to everybody on the sideline. That's right. I said, you get these attitudes because you make a little money. I said, you're rich. Those people on the side, they wealthy. That's a big freaking difference. Yeah.
They got generational wealth.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. If you weren't a basketball player, what career would you have chosen?
I would probably been a teacher or a coach.
Wow.
Because my plan A was to be people always have plan A's, plan B's coming out of high school and college. My plan A was to be a math teacher / coach. That's what I wanted to be.
Wow. Mm-hmm. If you could replay one Laker moment, good or bad, what would it be and why?
Really? You really gonna ask me that question?
I mean, we kind of covered it, I guess, right? that 2002 shot ain't nothing gonna replace that.
Yeah.
Ain't nothing gonna replace that. Yeah. Okay. All right, you ain't got to answer
I know
that.
I can answer. It'd be Jay's hug.
I wouldn't be infamous. Last one. We'll get you out of here on this. 2001 Lakers, 15-1 in the playoffs. 2017 Warriors, 16-1 in the playoffs. In your eyes, which is the better playoff team and why?
Us? Just because of Shaq.
Yeah, that's a big difference right there.
It's a big. I have never met Draymond Green before until like the last time they played, and I looked down at him. And I don't mean that in a bad way.
I know exactly
I'm
what
like,
you mean.
and I look up at Shaq, and you think your little ass gonna guard Shaq? And I know Ben. Everybody said, well, Ben Wallace is a different that's
animal,
country strong, Alabama country strong
that's
right
different
there.
Animal there.
So no, and everybody was like, well, who's gonna guard Steph? Well, who's gonna guard Clay? I think sometimes y'all forget how good D-Fish was, how good Kobe was. Like, who's gonna guard KD? I think you forget how good Rick was, and like, dude,
and yourself.
Yeah, I'm like, dude, it's like, it all has to be about who rules we're gonna play by too.
Yeah, that's true.
So that makes a big difference. But at the end, they got no answer for Diesel, none.
Yeah, I can contest to that in 2001. Just saying.
Yeah. All right, Rob. What's going on? What's next for Robert Horry?
It's weird that you never know who you meet and how many people know your story. And so I met this group, Matt Christopherson. He's part owners in this group called Sherco. And what they do is they analyze big businesses' insurance plans for the employees, and they kind of customize the plans for the employees, which in turn saves the company as a whole money. So, and the reason we kind of got in bed with one another because they heard my story about how crazy insurance was for me and my daughter when I probably the Cobra and so they were, and it was just a love. And after that, that's what I'm doing. I'm trying to learn about insurance, the PPOs and all that kind of crap and all the acronyms they got for all this shit. It's just bananas because it's forever changing. So that's been fun because you always want new challenges. I can't play golf. That's a challenge. I just don't want to be out there. So I think for me, that's the challenge. I'm trying to learn about insurance, and so I can be, go into a whole new world of my life and chapter in my life because it's kind of fun to, learn new things.
Love it.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, Big Shot Rob, Big Shot Bob, Robert Horry. Thank you, brother.
Thank you, Big Shot.
Thank you. Thank you for watching Byron Scott's Fast Break. If you like what you saw, here's some more videos. And while you're at it, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.